You're in for a treat today. We're doing a full BeatDown install on the front end of my boat. We're going to be installing the ultimate double stack. We're going to be putting on the zeroed in mount for the Livescope transducer, plus a couple of odd and end accessories. Whether you're getting ready to mount a BeatDown on your boat for the first time or you've done it 100 times, this is going to be the video for you. We're going to walk through it, get everything installed, show you just how easy it is, maybe give you a few tips and tricks along the way. So let's get the front of my boat completely decked out, ready to go. We got the shop heated up. Y'all stay tuned. So this is what we're going from here. This is kind of the setup right now. Just going with the BeatDown. I kind of work behind the scenes at BeatDown with a lot of the YouTube and TikTok stuff. This is my first time making a video for BeatDown, so I'm Connor. You're gonna get to see this full install. This is a 2020 Pantera 2. BeatDown makes it easy. I'm gonna kind of get in the box here and show you what it looks like. You know, when you order your stuff and kind of what you get, and walk through all that real quick. So this is obviously the box for the actual mount itself. You pop the box open, and I've removed some of the, there's a lot more packing in here to kind of keep everything safe and transport. I've took some of that out. That's like that's your base right here. Get rid of that. And then this is the actual, this is what your screens are gonna sit on right here. So we'll get that out here. This is the knob here, loosens and tightens this part here, which is what slides up and down so that you can adjust, pivot, twist, ever how you like. And then in this box here, we have all of our accessories. This is the underdeck install tool here. It's threaded. It's got a handle. So instead of having to hold it like this, you can hold it like this and not have to get shoulder deep in the nose of your boat. So super handy. It's threaded. So you're gonna wanna have this. It's gonna make life a lot easier on the install. So this is the round mounting plate, and this is gonna go on the top of your boat. This doesn't go under the deck. This goes on top. The base of the mount actually mounts onto this. You go through these holes, through the boat, everything's tight like that. So this is gonna sit on top. This is gonna allow you can back these out and you can take your whole mount off if you want, if that's something you're into. Otherwise, it's just gonna act as a base. It's suggested for fiberglass boats to get the round one. If you're an aluminum boat, you go with the square mounting plate. Also in this box, we have swag. Put that to the side here, a little t-shirt. Just go ahead and get the mounting hardware. Just nuts and bolts, super nice. Allen key for these right here. That's what's gonna go through the deck and hold the mounting plate down to connect to the underdeck tool. That is that. Also, graph knobs. We're gonna do some of these. These are the aluminum graph knobs to replace the factory plastic ones that come with your mounts. These are just sturdier, they're nice, have the BeatDown logo. They're clean, man, they're perfect. Last but not least, here's what I'm excited about the mount. Hold on. I'm looking forward to having full adjustability in my graph mount, but what I'm really looking forward to, the zeroed in transducer mount from BeatDown. And this is an absolute bad dude. Little things matter when you're scoping, in my opinion. 5-degree increments of adjustment, which is perfect. You can just get like next level dialed in. So if that's something that you're concerned with, getting next level dialed in on your picture, getting everything 100%, then it's definitely the Livescope transducer mount for you. And fact of the matter is, billet aluminum, this thing's sturdy, dude. Like, the factory mount works, you can fish with it like 100%. But if you're like me and you fish shallow a lot too, and you fish flooded timber, you know that like if you bend that thing, once you bend that thing, it's done. You can never get it back straight, and it keeps your picture like off. So you're not bending this joker, dude. This thing's perfect. That's the rundown. That's what we're doing. Complete facelift on the nose of my boat. Pretty excited to get this going, but first we got to remove all this. So man, I guess let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do here is just take this stuff off, get it out of the way. So I run a 9-inch Lowrance. This is an old Carbon. I just do a map with it. I'm not gonna buy a big fancy new screen just for a map. Didn't really have to explain that, but it's kind of where I'm at with it, you know what I'm saying? This BeatDown mount, I mean, it's gonna be more than enough to support what I got going on up here. I mean, even if you're running gigantic screens. 12-inch Garmin on the front for scope. I'm gonna put it like under my chin. It's gonna be like I'm reading a book. Like, I'm pumped. I'm just gonna take my screens and put them on the back deck. Just get them totally out of the way, and then we'll worry about getting the this old mount off. Okay, and I like using hand tools as opposed to a drill a lot, wherever I can. Why? I don't know. I just like hanging out in the shop. All right. I like getting in a warm shop and hanging out. Get your little short bungee cord for your cables when you get all of it kind of aligned here. So this is Garmin. All right, so there's Garmin, there's Lowrance. Take this bungee, we'll go around the Garmin first, and then we'll go around the Lowrance and hook it up. Just kind of bundle this stuff up here just so it ain't kicked out all kinds of different directions. As you can see, it just kind of hold it together. So here we are. We have the graphs off the front. We got the top off this mount. Unplug the trolling motor. Got the foot pedal over here to the side. Right here, if you have a Bass Cat, under your foot pedal, there is this plastic cover here. There's gonna be a hole in here, right? You're gonna pop this off, and that'll give you access to the underside of your mount. And the plate's nice, mainly because it's like a little plate. You can put your screws in it and stuff when you flip it over. See what I'm saying? You pop that joker off, flip it upside down, put your screws in it so they ain't rolling all over the place, getting on where they ain't supposed to be. There you are. It's off. It's gone. Catch it on Marketplace, getting rid of it. We're done. When you get your old setup out of the way, bare fiberglass right here. And as you can see, everything is dirty, like big time. Well, not very often do you get in here. So highly suggest to wipe all this down. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna clean it up real quick. Don't drop screws in the hull of your boat. There are several in the hull of my boat. Oh yeah, wipe all this down real good. Get in here, all these nooks and crannies that you can't normally reach. Especially if you're, you know, if you got a boat that's a few years old like mine, it gets surprisingly filthy up under here. Wipe it down a little bit. You're gonna have to do it again because we're gonna drill some holes here in a minute. On the mounting plate that goes on top here, leave these bolts in just so you don't, you know, miss pattern, I guess you'd say. All right, so I'm learning as I go too. So you see here, you got your mounting plate sitting on top of the tool, and that's how you can see how everything needs to line up. So before you get started, set it down on top of there, and you can see how it all needs to lay. And so if you can imagine the fiberglass sandwiched in between here, it's just going to be sitting there perfect to where you can hold it through the handle, hold it by the handle, and have everything right here ready to go. So about to get holes drilled. You gotta have that hat sitting on top of your head when you're rigging. About to get holes drilled and get this dude on here so you can see kind of what we're working with. The mounting plate that the mount's gonna go on is down. We're gonna mark some holes. I suggest a paint pen, something you can see really well, and you'll just wanna center up the holes that you're gonna drill. I drilled the center hole for the mount out first. And so what that'll do, you can take one of the bolts, run it through, and it'll kind of hold you in place. Drilling fiberglass, you go in reverse to start. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this smaller bit that'll run down through the mount, right? That way you get your starter holes. Keep a hand on the mount there, again, in reverse. And what that's gonna do is kind of waller out little pits in the fiberglass. So then when you take your bit that is gonna be your final hole for the bolts to run through, it will be easier to get them started. We're gonna guide this thing into the boat. I had to remove my panel for my back in behind, like my switch and my trolling motor battery. No big deal. Then you can kind of double check, make sure you don't have any corrosion or anything like that. I keep calling this the spatula, which is not what it is, or not what it's called. I guess you could use it as a spatula. All right, so holes are good. Everything's through. I got one more of these to put through. One more of these bolts to put through. Now this one here, this is the front corner, which is the thinnest part of the boat. I'm gonna have to get a different bolt to get all the hardware. You can't be too sure. I ran one through that one, and I heard it hit the bottom of the boat here, and so I checked on it, and it was pushing. So if I would have bared this one down as far as it would go, it probably would have went through the bottom of my boat. So it's one of those things you got to check for when you're installing, is like measure twice, cut once. That's why I try not to use power tools that much. I mean, like stuff that's obvious, you know, you can go ahead and pop the drill out, but like stuff like this right here, if I wouldn't have been using this, I probably would have went right through the bottom of my boat. That's not BeatDown's fault either. It's just one of those things where it's like, you gotta be cautious and whatnot. You can remove these bolts from mounting plate at this point, and a little silicone never hurt either. You're good. That's it. You got that plate under there. Remember these bolts we pulled out that hold the mount in. You can actually pick it up and even get it out of your way. Look at all that height. Look at that height we're gonna get. Pick it up, get it out of the way. So that plate is through bolted, and then this sits down on top of it. Look at there. What happens now? We gotta get our gimbals off our old one and put the gimbals on the new setup. First, I need to adjust cable. Not adjust cable, rather, but just get some extra cable out here. There's my mess of cables. You're gonna just gently kind of pull some extra cable through, like so. And we're gonna work on gimbals now. There's all kinds of holes. You can put anything on it. I'm gonna do this portion right here. So something you want to make sure of when you're doing this, and I haven't got it all the way done, but I got my Garmin here. When you're running cables, make sure you don't put any stress on them, and make sure that like you have plenty of adjustability and plenty of length in your cables. As you can see right now, I got this one ran to the side. So like your Livescope network cable, it's a 6-foot network cable. My black box is somewhere right here. So by the time it makes it up here, it's pretty tight. So don't go like jerking on cables, nothing like that. Like make sure that before you do your install that you have, you know, proper cables, that things are pulled through enough to where you can have the amount of adjustability you want. For now, I'm just not gonna be able to pick it up all the way. That's not a big deal, kind of expected it. I'll get another network cable and I'll finish up the job later this week. That won't be no big deal. One cable runs to the black box. So just something to keep in mind. So like right now, that's why I've got it how I've got it here. I might can go up and through, but anyways, so that's kind of the deal. Just make sure that your cables are good. I mean, the whole thing you want to take your time on, but this is another step right here where you definitely want to like take your time and make sure that everything's like tip top. All right, folks. So here's the setup. I went Garmin on bottom, little map unit up top. But that's it. And now my cables are everywhere. I'm gonna show you something you can do for that here in just a second. Keep it in mind, if you only get like one day to do everything, like think about some of that little stuff like cables and whatnot. I've got plenty of slack, but you can take a zip tie and put right here just to kind of keep everything contracted a little bit. But right here, I have a mess of stuff, clearly. Right here I have a rod sleeve. I'm gonna use that rod sleeve to kind of manage my Lowrance cables. My Lowrance cables are kind of there to stay, so I'm gonna rig that up. This is something I've done in the past. All right, so the end that's like rolled up from the factory is the end that I'm gonna have like poking out. And you'll basically run these cords through one at a time. Takes a little bit efficient through. Now take and loosen that clamshell back off. And then with your little cluster of wires that are for that specific graft, just kind of shove the rod glove in there. And I'll do the same for the Garmin down the road when I get all that finalized there. The cool thing about BeatDown is like if you are in the middle of an install here and you figure out, you know, maybe your cable doesn't have enough length, whatever cable that may be, you've got all this adjustability, so it's not like you do it for nothing. I mean, you can kind of regroup, figure out what you need, and get it right. I mean, I could bottom this thing out if I really wanted to, and you know, check in on it later, kind of thing. As you can see, everything's kind of like kept up here, which is cool by me. It may not be the most bougie thing to do. Look at it like this. Everything's kind of tight. Kind of run a zip tie over here to kind of keep it all put together. You don't want to put unneeded stress on cables. It's not good. Buying the proper cable or taking the time to make the cables be, you know, routed properly or what have you is the best bet when you're doing these installs. You need to make sure that everything is perfect. I'm liking it, man. Like I say, I gotta fix these Garmin cables here. I'm gonna do the same thing as I did to the Lowrance. Right now, this is the max height I can do before I get this different cable. I don't wanna stress this, it's pretty tight, but I don't wanna stress this. Very important, like I say. I got a little bit of extra cable down there. I always like to leave some slack for my Livescope transducer, just a little extra out and about. So I just kind of got that tucked down here. But this is how it's looking, man. This is how it's looking. I'd say it's pretty dialed. I'm pumped up. Get that graph up. I mean, the Garmin was like down here. I've already, before even adding any height adjustment, I'm already way higher. Put that thing right in my face. Opted for the Garmin on the bottom. We'll keep it right here and see if it helps with glare some, but you can pivot this thing around, swing it around, and help with some of that. But got the BeatDown knobs, dude. These things are tight. They're dialed. Go ahead and get them buckled down. But yeah, that's it, man. Little rod sleeve action. And like I say, I'm gonna do the same right here and run all this up through, kind of button down to some degree, and then we're moving over to the 0 degree, which I am extremely excited about. We're on the last leg here, 0 degree mount. I'm pumped about this. So we're gonna take this old one off. So it's super important when you're doing this to consider like your cable length and everything. I have a little extra down there in the foot pedal, like I said. And that's just kind of some extra just to have. I'd rather have a little extra out, you know, like in a pinch of some kind. Where would that come into play? I don't know. I'd rather have some extra slack than not. So like if you're installing your Livescope, like it's not already on there, like you're not swapping from the factory or some other mount, start down here first and then run your cable back. Just so that way you have plenty of slack. Make sure you can spin the trolling motor. Make sure it's at the proper length to the height that you want to run it, you know. It'll come with 2 pads. You have a thick pad, you have a thin pad. The thick pad is for like a smaller shaft trolling motor. The thin pad is for a thicker shaft trolling motor. And you'll probably experience a hair bit of overlap. They leave it a little extra long. I'm gonna cut like yay much off of it. Get these things started. You kind of want to evenly like tighten them, like work across from one another. And then that transducer, run the deal through. And that's it, dude. I mean, straight up, aside from fine-tune adjustments, like, and it's literally ever how you want it. You can do it like that. If you want to put a little something to it, something like that. Whatever, you know. That's it, dude. She's on there. That's probably about where I'm gonna run it, if I'm being honest. That's the BeatDown 0 Degree mount right there, man. That's pretty, I'd say that's pretty spot on. As you can see, kind of want it just level with the foot. So it's pretty much a wrap on that. Kind of just to show you how perspective mode works. You pull and twist, and you can whatever, change it however you want it. It's a rig, man. I could not wait. I had to get on the water. So looky there. Everything's looking solid. Up here, I mean, it's right in my lap. Like, it's just more than, just slightly out of arm's reach. The thing that I'm loving about this is the angle that it can be at and the height. I think when I fish team tournaments and my partner's right here or so, and we're both trying to see what's going on, I think that it'll work out really well. I'm loving it. I've caught a few fish using it so far. I think my 0 Degree needs a little more dialing in. One of those deals, you get it all installed, you know, like be a little patient, get out on the water, adjust some things as you go. After a trip or two, you're gonna have it perfect. I'm absolutely loving it so far. I mean, it's just right here. I got my pawpaw seat in, brother. Just peep-on around, but yeah, there's a little fish attractor. Hope y'all enjoyed. Like I say, I had to get out on the water and see how this thing would look. I highly suggest this this system. I mean, BeatDown like kind of has a full system, you know, where you can have your boat be as customizable as you want it to be. Everything's strong and sturdy. I mean, I'm liking it a lot, man. So that's an install. Quick little look at what it looks like out on the water. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. More to come from BeatDown Outdoors. We appreciate you watching.